The air on Velcara 9 was thick with tension. The grand hall of the Velcari Empire's royal palace was filled with delegates, ambassadors, and high-ranking officials from various interstellar factions. Among them was Liam Carter, a human security officer assigned to protect the human representatives during the ongoing diplomatic talks. Liam had never felt comfortable in these kinds of places. Fancy halls, golden pillars, and silk-draped aliens whispering in hushed voices. It all seemed too delicate, too fragile, like a world he didn't belong in. He preferred action, not politics. But orders were orders, and today he was just another silent guard standing among the towering Velcari warriors, his rifle slung across his chest. The Velcari were an ancient and proud alien race, humanoid in shape, but taller than humans, with smooth, deep violet skin and piercing silver eyes. They were known for their rigid traditions and strict hierarchy. For centuries, they had been wary of humans, unsure whether to consider them allies or potential threats. Liam shifted his weight, scanning the room as a group of Velcari nobles entered. Among them was a woman wrapped in an elegant silver cloak, her hood slightly covering her face. She walked gracefully, blending in with the others, and Liam paid her little attention. Just another Velcari noble, or so he thought. Then, everything changed in a blink. A sharp whining sound cut through the air, a sound Liam recognized instantly. A high-energy laser was being fired. Instinct took over. His sharp eyes caught the red flash of a sniper's weapon, aimed directly at the cloaked woman. There was no time to think, no time to question. He moved on pure reflex. Liam lunged forward, throwing himself between the woman and the incoming laser. The shot struck him square in the chest. A searing pain ripped through his body as the energy blast burned through his armor, sending him crashing to the ground. The hall erupted into chaos. Velcari guards roared, diplomats screamed, and alarm sirens blared through the palace. Liam gasped for breath, his vision blurring. He had expected to hit the cold floor, but instead, strong arms caught him. "You fool," a soft yet commanding voice said above him. Through the haze of pain, Liam blinked up and saw her, the cloaked woman, her hood now fallen away. To his shock, she wasn't just another noble. She was Queen Veliura, the supreme ruler of the Velcari Empire. Her silver eyes were wide with disbelief, staring down at him as if she couldn't comprehend what had just happened. Liam's mind reeled. He had just jumped in front of a laser blast to protect the Velcari Queen, a ruler he barely knew, a leader of a people who still didn't fully trust humans. The Queen pressed her hand against his armor, her voice unsteady. "Why? Why would you do that?" Liam coughed, his throat dry. Instinct, he managed to say. "I guess. I wasn't thinking." The Queen's expression shifted. Anger, confusion, something else. Around them, Velcari guards rushed to secure the area, but their eyes kept flickering toward Liam with something close to shock. No Velcari warrior had ever done what he had just done. Velcari didn't throw themselves in harm's way for their leaders. They believed in fate, in destiny. If a ruler was meant to die, they died. If they survived, it was the will of the stars. Liam had just broken their sacred belief. A high-ranking Velcari officer stepped forward, his voice cold. "Seize the human. This could be a trick." Liam barely had time to react before Velcari guards grabbed his arms, forcing him to his knees. His heart pounded. Was this how it ended? Saving their queen, only to be arrested for it. But before the guards could take him away, Queen Veliura raised her hand sharply. "No. Release him." The guards hesitated. "My queen." I said, "Release him." The command was final. Slowly, the guards let go, though their eyes still burned with suspicion. The queen's gaze never left Liam. There was something strange in her expression, something he couldn't quite understand. Then, to everyone's shock, she knelt before him. "You saved my life, human. I will not forget this." Liam swallowed hard, barely staying conscious as the pain in his chest worsened. He didn't know what he had just gotten himself into, but one thing was clear. His life had just changed forever. Liam's body felt heavy, like he was sinking into the depths of an ocean. His chest burned, his head throbbed, and his arms refused to move. He fought to open his eyes, but the weight of exhaustion held them shut. Slowly, consciousness returned, and with it, the distant sound of whispers. His injuries were severe. A few more seconds, and he would have been gone, a voice said. He survived. That alone is remarkable, another replied. Liam's eyelids fluttered open, and bright golden light blurred his vision. He blinked rapidly, trying to adjust. The room around him was strange yet beautiful. Smooth, white walls curved upward, glowing with soft energy. Floating orbs of light hovered in the air, casting a gentle warmth. Where was he? As he tried to move, a sharp pain shot through his chest, making him gasp. "Do not move yet," a calm but firm voice spoke near him. His gaze focused on the source of the voice. A tall Valkyrie woman stood by his bedside, dressed in elegant robes, her silver eyes watching him carefully. Her long, dark purple hair was braided, and her skin had the same deep violet hue as the other Valkyrie he had seen before. "Where?" His voice came out rough. "You are in the royal healing chambers, deep inside the Valkyrie palace," the woman explained. "You were brought here after the attack." Liam groaned, the events rushing back to him. The laser, the queen, the guards, the suspicion. He had been nearly executed on the spot, but Queen Veliara had stopped them. His fingers twitched against the soft fabric of the medical bed. His armor was gone, replaced by a thin, comfortable robe. The wound on his chest still ached, but it felt like something far more advanced than human medicine had treated him. The Valkyrie woman stepped closer. "Your body has been repaired using biocellular restoration. You will recover fully within a day." Liam exhaled. "That fast?" She nodded. "We do not let those who save our queen suffer." Liam blinked. Right. He had saved their queen. The woman placed a hand on her chest. "I am Lady Syra, Chief Medical Officer of the Royal Guard." "Liam Carter," he muttered, still adjusting to everything. Before he could say more, the door to his chamber slid open silently. A group of Valkyrie nobles entered, their expressions unreadable. But the one who stood in front of them made Liam's breath catch. It was her. Queen Veliara. She was no longer wearing the simple silver cloak from before. Now, she stood in full royal attire, a flowing deep blue gown lined with golden embroidery. Her silver eyes were sharp, filled with a quiet intensity. A delicate crown rested on her forehead, glowing faintly with Valkyrie energy. "Leave us," she commanded softly. The nobles hesitated but obeyed. Even Syra bowed her head and exited, leaving Liam alone with the queen. Silence filled the room. Liam shifted awkwardly, unsure of what to say. How did you talk to an alien queen after saving her life? Finally, she broke the silence. "You should not be alive." Liam frowned. "Well, thanks." Her expression did not change. "No Valkyrie warrior has ever thrown themselves into harm's way for me. We do not believe in interfering with fate. Yet you acted without hesitation." Liam sighed. "That's just what humans do. When we see danger, we protect the people near us." "I didn't even think about it." The queen studied him for a long moment, as if searching for the truth in his words. "You are different from what I expected," she admitted. Liam raised an eyebrow. "Expected?" Veliara's gaze flickered. "I was raised to believe humans were unpredictable, reckless, that they act without thinking." Liam smirked. "Sounds about right." To his surprise, a small, amused smile appeared on her lips. It was gone in an instant, replaced once again by her composed expression. "I will not pretend my people are comfortable with your presence," she continued. "Many believe you acted out of deceit, that this was a planned trick." Liam scoffed. So I nearly got vaporized to fake being a hero. That's some strategy. She tilted her head. Yet I believe you. That is why you are here. Liam exhaled, feeling the weight of the situation. So what happens now? The queen stepped closer, her eyes locking onto his. That is what I must decide. Liam swallowed. I cannot ignore what you did, she said. Your actions have placed my people in conflict. Some wish to honor you, others see you as a problem. There will be consequences. Liam tensed. And what do you think? For the first time, her voice softened. I think you are brave. And perhaps foolish. Liam smirked. I get that a lot. Her eyes held something he couldn't quite read. Rest now, Liam Carter. We will speak again soon. With that, Queen Valiera turned and exited, leaving Liam alone with the weight of his new reality. Liam lay on the medical bed, staring at the smooth, glowing ceiling of the royal healing chambers. His body felt stronger, thanks to the Valkyrie healing technology, but his mind was restless. He had survived an assassination attempt, saved the queen of an alien empire, and now found himself in the middle of a situation far bigger than himself. And he had no idea what would happen next. The door slid open with a soft hiss, and Liam turned his head to see Lady Xyra entering, carrying a small metallic tray with a bowl of some glowing blue liquid. You need to regain your strength, she said, setting the tray down. Drink this. Liam hesitated. What is it? Xyra's lips twitched slightly. You would call it soup. Liam sighed, sitting up carefully. His chest still ached, but the pain was manageable. He picked up the bowl and took a sip. To his surprise, the warm liquid tasted slightly sweet, like honey mixed with herbs. Not bad, he muttered. Xyra watched him carefully. There is something you should know. Liam raised an eyebrow. That doesn't sound good. She exhaled. The queen is facing immense pressure from the Valkyrie High Council. Your presence in the palace has caused a divide among our people. Liam put the bowl down, rubbing his forehead. Let me guess. Some think I'm a hero, others think I'm a problem. Xyra nodded. More than a problem. There are many who believe your actions were a trick, a human strategy to manipulate the queen's trust. Liam let out a frustrated laugh. So I nearly got myself killed just to win some political game. Not everyone believes in sacrifice the way humans do, Xyra replied. To the Valkyrie, fate decides who lives and who dies. No warrior has ever thrown themselves in harm's way for another. Your actions confused them. Liam shook his head. Great. So what now? Am I going to be kicked off the planet? Before Xyra could answer, the doors opened again. 2 armored Valkyrie guards entered, followed by an official wearing dark blue robes. His sharp silver eyes locked onto Liam. You are summoned by the High Council, he announced coldly. Liam frowned. Summoned? For what? The official didn't blink. To decide your fate. The High Council meeting. Liam was escorted through the grand palace halls, flanked by the tall, armored Valkyrie guards. Their expressions were unreadable, but their grip on their weapons was tight. He didn't like this. The council chamber was an enormous hall, filled with Valkyrie nobles and high-ranking officials. At the far end, Queen Valiera sat on a raised throne, her expression calm but unreadable. Liam stepped forward, and a tall, stern-faced Valkyrie named Lord Kale stood up. His silver robes shimmered under the golden light of the chamber. This human, Kale began, his voice sharp, has interfered in Valkyrie matters. He has disrupted our traditions and put the queen in danger. He should not be allowed to remain among us. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some nodded in agreement. Others remained silent. Liam clenched his jaw. I saved her life. Kel's silver eyes narrowed. Or perhaps you staged the attack to gain her favor. Liam took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. I didn't plan anything. I saw a threat, and I acted. That's what humans do. A female noble stood up. Your actions, intentional or not, have created division among our people. Some now see you as an honorable warrior, others as a dangerous influence. Liam glanced at Queen Veliera. She had not spoken yet. Her eyes remained on him, watching his every reaction. Finally, she stood up. Enough. Her voice was firm, yet controlled. This man saved my life. He acted without hesitation, without personal gain. That is truth. Cale did not back down. My queen, his presence here is dangerous. The people are divided. If he stays, it could weaken your rule. Veliera's gaze hardened. And what would you suggest? Cale's lips curled slightly. Send him away, or place him under trial to prove his loyalty. Liam tensed. Trial. Cale smirked. Let him face the Valkyrie proving. If he survives, he may remain. Murmurs filled the chamber once more. Some looked intrigued, others concerned. Liam glanced at Syra, who stood near the edge of the room. Her eyes warned him to be careful. Queen Veliera's gaze remained unreadable. The proving is a test of strength, intelligence, and honor, Cale explained. If the human truly wishes to stay among us, he must prove that he deserves that right. Liam exhaled slowly. He didn't like this, but he wasn't about to back down. He met Cale's cold gaze and smirked. All right, he said. I'll take your test. Silence filled the chamber. Queen Veliera's eyes flickered with something Liam couldn't quite read. Then she nodded. Very well. Liam Carter will face the Valkyrie proving. Liam had no idea what he had just agreed to. But one thing was clear. This was far from over. Liam stood in the Grand Valkyrie arena, the heat of the twin suns beating down on him. The Valkyrie proving was about to begin, and he had no idea what he was in for. The arena was massive, with towering stone pillars and thousands of Valkyrie spectators watching from the stands. They murmured among themselves, their silver eyes locked onto him with a mix of curiosity, doubt, and anticipation. At the far end of the arena, Queen Veliera sat on a raised platform, watching in silence. Next to her, Lord Cale wore a smug expression, clearly expecting Liam to fail. Liam rolled his shoulders, feeling the weight of his situation. No weapons, no armor, just his instincts. A deep drumming sound echoed through the arena. A Valkyrie warrior stepped forward, holding a long metallic staff. His violet skin shimmered under the light, his silver eyes burning with intensity. The trial consists of 3 challenges. The warrior announced: strength, strategy, survival. If you succeed, you will be honored. If you fail, his gaze turned sharp. Then you do not belong here. Liam exhaled slowly. All right. No pressure. The first challenge: strength. The first test was a battle against a Valkyrie warrior. A hulking alien stepped forward, standing at least 8 feet tall, covered in ceremonial armor. He carried a heavy energy staff, his grip firm. Liam had seen these warriors before. They were built like walking tanks, strong enough to bend steel with their bare hands. The crowd cheered wildly as the warrior charged. Liam barely dodged the first swing, the force of the attack sending a shockwave through the air. He knew he couldn't overpower this guy. Valkyrie were stronger, but humans were faster. The warrior swung again. Liam ducked, rolled to the side, and kicked the back of his opponent's knee. The Valkyrie stumbled slightly, surprised by Liam's speed. Liam smirked. Not so tough when you can't hit me, huh? The warrior growled and lunged again, but Liam used his own momentum against him, sidestepping and shoving him off balance. With a final, well-placed kick, Liam sent his opponent crashing to the ground. The crowd fell silent. Then, after a moment, a few Valkyrie warriors nodded in approval. Queen Veliera's lips curved slightly, just for a second. The second challenge: strategy. For the next test, Liam was led to a massive maze filled with traps. The objective is simple, an official said. Escape before the time runs out. Liam stepped inside. the stone walls towering over him. The moment the doors shut, the floor shifted. The maze was constantly changing. "Great," he muttered. "Moving walls, just what I needed." Liam took a deep breath and began moving. He quickly realized the maze wasn't just physical. It was a mind game. The Valkyrie wanted to test how well he could adapt. He watched the shifting walls, noting the pattern. Every 30 seconds, the paths realigned, creating new openings. Using his keen observation, Liam timed his movements perfectly, sprinting through the gaps before they close. After several tense minutes, he emerged from the exit, breathing hard. Once again, the crowd was stunned. No human had ever done this before. Even Lord Kell's smug expression began to fade. The third challenge, survival. For the final challenge, Liam was led into a dark chamber with no weapons or tools. The walls were smooth, and there was no way out. Then the ground shook. A creature emerged from the shadows, a massive, six-legged beast with glowing red eyes and razor-sharp claws. Liam swallowed hard. "Oh, come on." The beast lunged. Liam barely dodged, rolling across the ground. He needed a plan. Fast. He noticed the walls had reflective surfaces. The beast relied on its senses, using movement and sound to track him. An idea formed. Liam grabbed a small rock and threw it against the far wall. The loud echo made the creature turn sharply, thinking Liam was there. Using the distraction, Liam jumped onto its back, grabbing its thick fur. The beast roared, thrashing wildly, but Liam held on. With a final move, he jammed a broken metal rod into the creature's exposed neck, stunning it. The beast collapsed, unconscious. The chamber doors slid open, and Liam stepped out, victorious. The crowd exploded into cheers. The verdict. Liam stood in the center of the arena, exhausted but standing tall. Queen Veliara rose from her throne. "The human has passed the trials," she declared. "He has proven his strength, his intelligence, and his survival skills." She turned toward the High Council. "Let it be known, Liam Carter is no enemy of the Valkyrie." Lord Kell's expression darkened, but he could not argue. As the crowd cheered his name, Liam glanced up at the Queen. For the first time, she looked at him not as an outsider, but as something more. This was just the beginning. Liam stood in the middle of the grand Valkyrie arena, his chest rising and falling as he caught his breath. The cheers of the crowd still echoed in his ears, but he wasn't fooled. Not everyone was happy about his victory. Queen Veliara had officially declared him an ally, but Liam could feel the cold stares of those who still doubted him, including Lord Kell. The Queen descended from her royal platform, her deep blue cloak flowing behind her as she approached him. The crowd fell silent, waiting for her next words. "You have proven yourself, Liam Carter," she said, her silver eyes studying him. "You are no ordinary human." Liam smirked. "I'll take that as a compliment." A flicker of amusement passed through her eyes, but it vanished just as quickly. Then she turned toward the High Council. "The trials have been completed. There will be no further questions about his loyalty." Lord Kell stepped forward, his expression tight with frustration. "My Queen, the trials prove he is capable, but they do not prove his true intentions." Veliara's gaze hardened. "He saved my life. That is proof enough." Liam crossed his arms. "If I wanted to harm the Queen, I wouldn't have jumped in front of a laser for her." Kell's lips thinned, but he said nothing. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder. Some supported Liam, others still hesitated. Liam could tell that Kell was losing control of the situation, but something told him the Valkyrie noble wasn't done yet. And he was right. The whisper of a conspiracy. Later that night, Liam found himself walking through the grand halls of the Valkyrie Palace. It was beautiful, smooth, curved walls lined with soft blue lights, but despite the elegance, he felt uneasy. The palace was too quiet. His instincts, honed from years of military experience, told him something was wrong. He turned a corner and nearly collided with Lady Xyra. She grabbed his arm and pulled him into a hidden corridor. "Whoa, what's going on?" Liam asked, looking at her serious expression. Xyra's silver eyes darted around before she whispered, "You are in danger." Liam sighed. "That's not new." "No." Xyra's voice was urgent. "This is different. I have been investigating the assassination attempt on the Queen." Liam's attention sharpened, and Xyra hesitated before saying, "The assassin was not an outsider. He was Valkyrie." Liam's jaw tightened. "So it was an inside job." She nodded. "And that means someone from the High Council ordered the attack." Liam ran a hand through his hair. This was worse than he thought. If someone high-ranking had tried to kill the Queen, then it meant the real enemy was still in the palace. "Who?" he asked. "Who gave the order?" Xyra hesitated again, then whispered, "Lord Kell." Liam exhaled sharply. Of course, it was him. He had suspected Kell from the beginning, but now there was proof. "That explains why he wanted me gone," Liam muttered. "If I hadn't jumped in front of that laser, the Queen would be dead, and he'd probably be in power right now." Xyra nodded. "And he knows you are a threat. He will not stop until you are eliminated." Liam clenched his fists. He was tired of being a target. If Kell wanted him out of the way, he would have to try harder. "What about the Queen?" Liam asked. "Does she know?" Xyra shook her head. "Not yet, but we must tell her before it's too late." Liam exhaled. "Then let's go." A dangerous conversation. The Queen's private chamber was heavily guarded, but when Liam and Xyra arrived, the Valkyrie guards let them pass. Inside, Queen Valiera stood by a large window, gazing at the twin moons outside. When she turned to face them, her silver eyes held a quiet intelligence. "Liam," she said softly, "you come with urgency." Liam exchanged a glance with Xyra before speaking. "We have proof. Lord Kell was behind the assassination attempt." The Queen's expression didn't change, but Liam saw a flicker of something dangerous in her eyes. Xyra stepped forward. "My Queen, I have gathered evidence. Kell hired the assassin from within our own ranks. He planned everything." Valiera remained silent for a long time. Then she exhaled slowly. "I feared as much." Liam blinked. "You knew." "I suspected," she admitted, "but I had no proof. Kell has always been ambitious, but I did not think he would go this far." Liam crossed his arms. "Well, now we have proof. What do we do?" The Queen's silver eyes turned sharp. "We must act carefully. If Kell senses that we know the truth, he will strike first." Liam frowned. "So what's the plan?" Valiera's gaze locked onto his. "We wait," she said. "We let him believe he is winning. And when the time is right." Her voice dropped, filled with quiet determination. "We end this." Liam smirked. "Now that's a plan I can get behind." The storm approaches. As Liam left the Queen's chamber that night, he felt the weight of war settling on his shoulders. Kell was dangerous, but he wasn't untouchable. And Liam wasn't going down without a fight. The game had changed, and he was ready. Liam stood at the edge of the Valkyrie Palace balcony, staring at the twin moons hanging in the sky. The cool night air did little to calm the storm brewing inside him. Now that he knew the truth, that Lord Kell had orchestrated the assassination attempt on the Queen, the real battle had begun. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't some grand strategist. He was a soldier. And soldiers didn't wait for the enemy to strike first. A soft voice broke his thoughts. "You are troubled." Liam turned to see Queen Valiera stepping onto the balcony. Her deep blue cloak billowed slightly in the wind, and her silver eyes gleamed under the moonlight. "Can you blame me?" Liam muttered. "We know Kell is a traitor. We know he's dangerous. And we're just waiting." Valiera sighed, stepping closer. A direct attack would be reckless. If we accuse him without undeniable proof, his supporters will turn against me. It could start a civil war. Liam exhaled, running a hand through his hair. So what do we do? The Queen's gaze hardened. We set a trap. Liam raised an eyebrow. You want to bait him into exposing himself. She nodded. Cale believes he is winning. We must let him think that, until it is too late for him to escape. Liam smirked slightly. All right. How do we do that? A voice answered from behind them. We let him make his next move, Lady Xyra said, stepping forward. And we make sure he believes no one is watching. Liam crossed his arms. That's risky. The Queen met his gaze. It is the only way. Liam sighed. He hated waiting. But if it meant getting rid of Cale for good, he would play along for now. The first strike. The next few days were tense. Liam could feel the pressure rising within the palace. The Queen went about her duties as if nothing had changed, while Cale continued to watch Liam with cold eyes. Liam played his part well, pretending to be just another guard, as if the trials had been the only thing that mattered. But inside, he was waiting, watching. And then it happened. Late one evening, a royal messenger entered the Queen's chamber in a hurry. Liam, standing nearby, noticed the nervous look in his eyes. My Queen, the messenger said, a request has been made for you to attend a private council meeting. Lord Cale insists it is urgent. Liam's jaw clenched. This was it. Veliera remained calm. Did he say why? The messenger hesitated. He claims there is a matter of security. That the human, Liam Carter, should not be trusted. Liam exhaled sharply. Of course. Ira, standing beside him, whispered, it's a setup. Liam agreed. Cale was moving against him, and possibly against the Queen herself. Veliera nodded slowly. Tell Cale I will attend. The messenger bowed and left. Liam turned to her. You know this is a trap, right? Veliera met his gaze. Yes. Liam smirked. Good. Then let's spring it. The council meeting. The Grand Council chamber was dimly lit when Queen Veliera arrived, flanked by Liam and Tyra. Lord Cale stood at the far end, surrounded by a group of his most loyal supporters. Liam could see it immediately. This wasn't just a meeting. This was an ambush. Cale bowed slightly. My Queen, thank you for coming. Veliera's voice remained steady. Speak, Lord Cale. What is so urgent? Cale's silver eyes flickered to Liam. This human. He is a danger to our people. He has manipulated his way into your trust, and I believe he is working with the enemies of our empire. Liam laughed. That's creative. Cale's gaze darkened. The council must decide now whether he should be allowed to remain. I propose he be removed, immediately. Liam saw the subtle shift in the guards around the chamber. They were here for more than just words. Veliera's expression didn't change. You call for his removal. On what evidence? Cale smirked. Does it matter? He is an outsider. That alone is enough. Liam tensed. Cale was pushing for an immediate decision, not a debate. He wanted this over quickly. But Liam wasn't about to let him win. You know what I think. Liam said, stepping forward. I think you're scared. Cale's eyes flashed with anger. What did you say? Liam smirked. You're afraid because I survived. Because I saw your assassin. Because I stand beside the Queen when you wanted her dead. A murmur spread through the chamber. Cale's fingers twitched. You dare. Veliera cut him off. Enough. Her voice was sharp, filled with authority. She took a step forward. I have allowed this conversation to continue out of respect for the council. But now, I will speak. The chamber fell silent. I trust Liam Carter, she said, her voice unwavering. He saved my life. He has fought for this empire. And he has proven his loyalty. She turned to Cale. You, however, have proven nothing. Cale's expression twisted into rage. "This is a mistake, my queen." His voice was low, dangerous. "And you will regret it." Then he raised his hand. The moment his fingers moved, Liam's instincts kicked in. He lunged. A hidden weapon flashed in Kel's palm. A concealed energy dagger, aimed directly at the queen. Liam's fist collided with Kel's wrist, knocking the weapon away. Kel stumbled back, shocked. Guards rushed forward, but Liam already had Kel pinned to the ground, his knee pressing into the traitor's chest. The chamber erupted into chaos. Veliera stepped forward, her silver eyes blazing. "Kel, you are under arrest for treason." The guards seized him. Liam exhaled, standing up. He looked at Veliera, who met his gaze with a small nod. It was over. Kel had fallen. But something in Liam's gut told him this wasn't the end. The Valkyrie council chamber was still filled with tension. Lord Kel lay pinned beneath Liam, his silver eyes burning with rage. Guards rushed forward, weapons drawn, surrounding the traitorous noble. Queen Veliera stepped closer, her deep blue cloak flowing like a shadow behind her. She looked down at Kel, not with anger, but with cold finality. "You have betrayed the Empire," she said, her voice steady. "You tried to assassinate me. You plotted against your own people. And now your treachery has been exposed." Kel struggled against the guards holding him, but he was outnumbered. The proud noble was finally powerless. Liam stood up, still catching his breath. He had expected Kel to fight to the very end. But the truth was, Kel had already lost the moment his dagger hit the ground. Veliera turned toward the council. "What is the punishment for treason?" A deep silence filled the chamber. Then one of the elder counselors stood up. "The punishment is death." Murmurs spread through the room. Kel's breathing quickened, but he forced himself to remain composed. "You need me," he hissed. "Without me, this empire will weaken. You cannot." "Enough," Veliera said sharply. Liam watched her closely. She wasn't enjoying this. She wasn't a ruler who sought revenge. She was a leader making the hardest choice of all. Kel stared up at her, silver eyes defiant. "You think killing me will end this? You are wrong." For a long moment, the queen didn't speak. Then she took a breath and looked at the guards. "Take him away," she ordered. "He will be tried before the full court of the Empire. The people will witness justice." The guards dragged Kel to his feet, but before they could take him away, he turned to Liam. "You," he spat, "you are the reason for this. A human. An outsider. You don't belong here." Liam smirked. "I guess the queen disagrees." Kel growled but said nothing more. As he was taken from the chamber, the tension slowly began to ease. But Liam knew it wasn't over yet. The aftermath. That night, Liam stood on the balcony of the Queen's palace, looking out at the vast city beyond. The sky was alight with stars, the twin moons casting a silver glow over the horizon. Behind him, soft footsteps approached. "You have done something no human has ever done before," Veliera said, standing beside him. "You stopped a traitor. You saved my life. You earned the respect of my people." Liam chuckled. "Not all of them." She gave a small smile. "No, but enough." He turned to look at her. "So what happens now?" She exhaled, her silver eyes searching his. "Kel's supporters will not disappear overnight. There will still be challenges ahead, but with time, the Empire will heal." Liam nodded. "And me." Veliera hesitated. "You have earned the right to stay among us. The council will no longer question your place here." Liam smirked. "That almost sounds like an invitation." The queen looked at him, her expression unreadable. "Perhaps it is." Liam fell silent, considering his options. He could leave, return to his people, go back to his old life. But something deep inside him told him that he belonged here now. After a long moment, he exhaled. "Then I guess I'm staying." Veliera gave him a rare, genuine smile. "Then welcome to the Valkyrie Empire, Liam Carter." He grinned. Just one thing. Next time there's an assassination attempt, maybe let someone else take the hit. Veliera laughed softly. No promises. The night stretched before them, filled with endless possibilities. Liam had come to this planet as an outsider. Now he was something more. A warrior, a protector, and maybe, just maybe, a legend.